Okay, so everybody should be on and ready to go. So good morning, or good afternoon, I guess. First, I'd like to welcome everyone to the COABE Presenters webinar. My name is Jody Angelone, and I'm the current COABE Vice President of Membership and this year's Conference Presenter Chair. So I will be co-hosting today's session with our app coordinator, Chris Binnix, and Michelle Childs, our COABE Office Manager. We will be addressing your questions throughout the webinar. So if you have a question, please feel free to type it in the chat box at any time throughout the presentation. We also have with us today Sharon Bonney, our COABE Executive Director. And although they could not be with us today, I want to also introduce Kay Scarborough, our Conference Chair, and Don Finn, our Program Chair. Additionally, I'd like to take a minute to introduce Adrian Fanner with Aztec Software, who has generously sponsored the COABE app. She will be taking a minute to share some items with you before we are done today. So here's our agenda for today's webinar. I will give you a brief overview of what to expect as a presenter, the process for check-in at the conference, and then we'll go to the presenter webpage and review some important presenter details, as well as we'll take some time to answer any questions that you may have for us. Once we've reviewed the general information and answered all of your questions, Chris will walk you through the COABE app and share some app tips for presenters. There will be a separate presenter registration sign-in again this year at conference, so please look for the presenter registration booth when you arrive at the conference. This will be for all presenters and co-presenters. You will receive a presenter packet with a ribbon. We ask that you are signed in at least 3 hours prior to the start of your session. Now we do this so that we are aware that the presenters are there, and if presenters aren't there and we need to do some shuffling around with sessions or whatever, we have time to do that. But if this is going to be a problem for any of you due to your arrival time or in the session start time, then all we ask is that you please notify COABE prior to the conference, just so we can verify that you will be there, but that the time schedule maybe is a little bit tighter than the 3 hours. Also, Don and Michelle have worked really hard to try to keep our conference strands and our presenters in zones, so you do not have to travel long distances between the sessions. There are approximately 370 sessions, so this is not a small feat, but they've made every effort to make sure that there are no double bookings, and they've tried to accommodate all of your requests. So what can you expect to find in your presenter's packet? As I stated a little bit earlier, you will receive a presenter ribbon that you can attach to your name tag holder. There'll be a map of the conference hotel. The conference area is quite large, but fairly easy to maneuver. Please review the map, and if possible, try to locate your room prior to your session. There will be volunteers throughout the conference area to assist you. Volunteers will be wearing red vests, so they are fairly easy to locate. Again, I know that Don has worked really hard on logistics and details for the conference, and he plans to make getting around the conference as seamless as possible. Your packet will also have some general additional presenter information about uploading your presentation and your materials to the COABE Adult Educator Repository. Again, this year we are offering a $10 presenter incentive refund for uploading your presentation and materials to the repository. We will also include some information on the social media and the COABE app. And we encourage you to use social media and the app, and we hope that you will do so to share information about your session and to try to promote your session to attendees. We will also provide our Twitter handles and Facebook page information, again, to encourage you to promote your sessions. There will also be an FAQ sheet in your packet, and that document is something that we've put together based on past questions that presenters have had related to presenting at the conference. Now I'm going to take a minute to take you to the COABE presenter webpage. Hopefully most of you have already been here, but if not, we're going to take a few minutes to highlight some of the important details. So get 1 second here, and I'm going to pull up. Can all of you see, I hope, the COABE webpage? So this is the presenter's webpage when you go to COABE here. And you'll see the first part is the presenter's next step, making your hotel reservations. Hopefully you've all done so. I know that I think at our last check, there were a few individuals who had not. And I just want to share that the conference hotel, Coronado Springs Disney, is full, as well as our overflow hotels. And so I've talked with Michelle earlier this week, and they're currently working to find locations at other hotels around the area. And the website will be updated on a regular basis. So they're encouraging you to go here to this link and check to make sure to check on other hotel options. So register for the conference. I think that we have just about all of our presenters registered except for a handful, and I know we are going to be in contact with those individuals to make sure that that goes smoothly. If you are one of those individuals that have not yet registered for the conference, please make sure to do so. If they're, part of that registration issue has to do with some of the processing with paperwork in your institutions, we understand that sometimes that can be timely, but please let us know. That way we at least have that information and know that to expect you and to go ahead and move forward. Okay, the next thing you'll see are the different conference strands, and then we're going to move on to the presenter agreement. So again, we've already talked about registering for the conference. So we want to just cover some of the other pieces of this in case there are any questions. You will be responsible for all costs related to transportation, room, and board. You'll be responsible for furnishing handouts in the quantity needed for sessions. We recommend 30 to 40 handouts. But again, you have the option of uploading materials to the repository, and so individuals can also access materials that way. The conference will provide LCD projectors this year. We also have screens and tables for all of the rooms. What we ask of you is that you bring your own computer and any special adapters or plugins. That's if you have, Mac, sometimes that's a different plug-in device that you need from the computer to the projector, as well as some of the new computers only take HDMI cords. So please be aware of some of those connection devices and try to make sure that you have those with you. We will have tech support on hand to help you with setup throughout the conference and all the conference sessions. You will be responsible for arrangements and costs of audiovisual equipment beyond what the conference provides. So again here, when we talk about the items that you want to bring, the other things that you might want to think of as a presenter are if you have something in your presentation that involves sound, you may want to make sure that you have speakers. I know another tool that's really helpful as a presenter is the clicker. So if you have a clicker that allows you to move around the room and advance your slides at a distance, that also can be really helpful. So there's no paid honorarium. We also ask that you adhere to all copyright laws when thinking about your materials and presenting materials. You'll be responsible for the security of any of your personal equipment used in the presentation. Grant permission to COABE for any use of photography or videography taken at the conference. We do use these sometimes for promotional purposes. And again, we're past the deadline to submit the presentation, and everybody has done so, and that is why you're here on the session with us today. So again, concurrent sessions are about 75 minutes in length. We also have some half-day pre-conference presentations and full-day pre-conference presentations. So again, some additional details for you as a presenter. Again, your check-in will be separate, and you'll receive your ribbon in your packet at that time. Again, a reminder about the handouts or copies. We ask that you bring approximately 30 to 40 sets of those handouts with you, and also that we encourage you to upload your materials to the repository. You will have some time prior to each session to set up your presentation equipment and to prepare your materials. Again, aside from a tech rep, there are volunteers that will be available throughout the session, and sometimes those volunteers are there and can help you with some of that setup. So each room will be equipped with a power cart, projection screen. My understanding is there also will be an easel, but again, if you're asked to consider bringing your flip chart paper or other materials that you might need for session with you. Okay, I'm going to move this off and stop sharing here so that I can go back to our presentation. Okay, at this time, before we move forward, I want to ask Sharon if there are any questions that we can answer for you prior to moving forward.
Jody, thank you so much. So when I take a look here at the Q&A box, there's of course the question about will all projectors have HDMI input? And do you know anything about laptops possibly being banned on flights? Those are the two questions we have.
Okay, so I have heard lately about some of the devices being banned, but what I've heard are mainly related to cell phones. I think the thing to do with your laptop, I know for me personally, I don't like to check my laptop. I like to take my personal devices on the plane with me. So I think the thing to do is to check with your flight attendants when you get onto the, when you're entering into the airport and entering into the, onto the plane. Sometimes if it's a specific banned device, they will ask you to store it above or store it below and to not turn it on, but they should have that information for you. So I think you should be safe taking it. It just might be an issue and if you'll be allowed to use it on the plane. The question about the projectors. So no, there's no guarantee that every projector I think will have HDMI or other connections. So this is the first year in which we've had projectors donated or able to use throughout the conference presentations. And so those projectors are coming from various programs out of ACE of Florida. And so it's really a great thing that we've been able to provide this for everybody and that you've not had to provide your own projector. But because of that, some of those projectors may have different setups in terms of HDMI cables. I think that those projectors will have the capability to connect with an HDMI or the standard connection, but I'm not going to say that they'll all have the cables available. Again, we'll try to have as many as possible and have some spares. We do have some spare projectors that we'll have with us. But I guess if it's a major concern for you, you can consider bringing your own projector. And that way you know that it's covered and you have the connection capabilities that you need. Sharon, were there?
Yep, Jody, there's a couple more. One is asking, do you prefer that we have handouts available or that we should upload them to the app and direct audience members there?
So, Sharon, I'm going to let you or Chris answer the question about the app. I'm going to tell you that I know that a lot of individuals, when they attend, they ask for handouts, they look for handouts. I would, I guess I look at it as a presenter all the times. As a minimum, it's nice maybe to have a copy of your the presentation. So if you have that presentation kind of notes copy, then that's a nice piece to have there. And then any additional materials, you could provide it either in paper or electronic. I can give you an example for myself. I've created a Dropbox, and so I have a lot of materials to share for my presentation. And so I will be providing all of my participants with that Dropbox link, and all the materials they'll be able to access electronically from there. And so the only item that I'm going to bring in paper copy will be a copy of my presentation so you can take notes as we go through the session. But it's really a preference for you. If there's things that you think would be really beneficial for them to have on hand, then you might want to consider making copies of those.
Great. And then we also have a question which I can answer here, which is asking about, will the slideshow be available for download? Well, actually, this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel, and we'll be sure to share that out on the presenter webpage as well. And if we're able to get it done in time, we'll also include it in the link that will go out from Zoom tomorrow by 3 o'clock. So just to answer your question, Christy, yes, this information will certainly be available for you and your supervisor. Then there's two other questions. One is asking, is there a way to access the COABE app through the browser? And so our dedicated app coordinator will be sharing that a little bit later, Eric. And then also one other question regarding the room setup, asking about, it appears that there are different room setups, round table, classroom, and that it accommodates different audiences. So Michelle, would you like to answer that about the room setup?
Yes, this year to streamline everything, basically every room is going to be set up in classroom style. So there will be the long tables with chairs, so they will have something to write on. But this was just really, with so many presentations this year, we needed to keep it more streamlined. So all the rooms will be set up in the classroom style.
Thanks, Michelle. And then I also see that our wonderful president, Tom Nash, has joined us and is chatting away in the chat box. Hi, Tom. So glad you could join us. Okay, so with that, Jody, I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so a little bit of a recap before I turn this over to Chris to talk to you guys more about the COABE app. So again, just wanted to stress some of the media and internet coverage. You will have a power cart, projector, and projection screen in the rooms. You will have a courteous volunteer that'll be assigned to each session. They'll be there to help you set up with your materials and also contact tech support if needed. What is not covered, you're responsible for providing your own laptop or device and presentation materials. So that includes laptops, speakers, clickers, flip charts, etc. It's my understanding that there will be easels in the breakout rooms. But again, if you use a Mac or you have specific connectivity requirements, you may want to look at making sure that you have those connection cords also. Internet will be provided throughout the conference this year, so you will have Wi-Fi with no password required. So this means all meeting space areas will have access for presenters and participants. Okay, and now I'm going to turn this over to Chris. And Chris, if you just let me know when you want me to go to the next slide, and I'll be glad to move forward for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jody. So we have a fantastic app this year for our conference. And to get that app, you can, the easiest way is to either take a little photo of the QR code that's right there, or go onto COABE.org under the conference apps section. So moving on to this app, it is a, next slide, please. So this app is actually available on both iOS and Android devices, which means anything Android and iPhone, iPad, it's all great. And there is a HTML version for your web browser, which we call a web app. And that's how you would access it on a desktop to answer that question that was posted earlier. And you can actually get to that through our COABE website as well. So once you've downloaded the app and or opened it up on your browser, next slide, Jody. You'll get a login screen that will ask you for an email address. If you've used the app in the past, you just enter in that email that you used before. Or if you're brand new to it, you pick your work email, pick a personal email, whichever one that you generally would want to use with this app. And once you've submitted that in, it will give you a list of events. You would want to choose the COABE 2017 section because, of course, we're in the COABE 2017. If you've used the app in the past, it will actually skip and go right onto the activity feed. But if you're brand new, it will ask you to create a profile or edit a profile. And then on this profile, you can link to your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and put your photo, your title, a whole bunch of different little things that would make this app a little more exciting. Next slide, Jody. And then once that's all said and done, it brings you to the landing page of the app, which also has the menu option in the upper left-hand corner. And just before I get right into talking about these different sections, I do want to point out a couple different items on here. This app is ever evolving. We're ever adding more to it. But just to highlight a couple areas that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the activity feed. We're going to talk about the agenda. We're going to talk about a little bit about the exhibitor sections. A brand new section this year is called channels, and the leaderboard. Next section, Jody. The vendor we worked with on this app is called Double Dutch. They actually have a section at the bottom with frequently asked questions about the app. So if for some reason you're exploring the app on your own and you just want to search the little simple question, you can do that right within the app, and that's down at the bottom of the menu. Next, of course, the app ambassadors will be throughout the conference. There will be a booth about the app at the conference, I believe, and of course, there's always this option of looking up and exploring yourself. Next section. So first, the first section we're going to talk about is the agenda. The agenda is basically an overall view of the events and session times and different things going throughout the event. You can actually add these items to your own agenda. It's actually called My Agenda. And to do so, you would simply click on this section, and it gives you like a little check mark, and you've added that to your agenda. Next slide, Jody. You know, and after that check mark appears, your agenda is now populated. All the sessions that will be present on the conference are also populated. They are all in there. Everything's in there with all the speakers and times and rooms. It's all populated. So when you look at the agenda, you can scroll through, you can search. You can search by day. You can move through the different sections and filter out through strands. Be sure to look at some of our different strands that are provided by amazing strand partners. And to get more detail, you just simply tap on the session that you want to attend to get more details about it. Next slide, Jody. So once you've tapped, you actually see the title, you see the description of what the session is about and the speaker. And once the session is actually over, there will be a survey for this. And please, you guys are all presenters, and we want feedback. So if you use this app for no other purpose, please remind that the attendees that we don't give out a hard copy for our session surveys. So please download the app, go to the session, fill out the survey, because we really love the feedback. We want to have the best sessions possible every year, and we really need this to be done. And just another few notes about the sections. You can actually engage within the session itself. There's actually a section called Activity, which you can kind of do almost like a Facebook, where you can post, you can reply, you can discuss. You can also add a note. Maybe the attendee wants to add notes about your session. They can do it right within the app, which is a great feature. Next slide, Jody. And basically on that activity sheet, there's a whole bunch you can post, reply, talk. You can also inform the attendees in your session to please do this, because it also shows that they're a part of the session. If it ever came up that they needed CEUs or anything like that, there's evidence of doing something for that session. Next slide, Jody. So one of the latest, newest sections there is today is the channels. This is an area where a whole bunch of participants can actually join into and talk about industry trends, legislative updates that is happening, and the ever popular hashtag Cafe Buzz, which is where I, in the morning time, actually discuss takeaways and get feedback from all the people who are attending. Is really great. Be sure to participate in that if you're a presenter. It's a great way to interact with the attendees going along. Next section, Jody. All right, so everything you do within the app, whether you make a post, do a survey, or even just create a profile, there are points connected with that. And people can actually go in and see where they place on the leaderboard, how they are interacting as far as points. Are they taking the most screenshots? Are they doing this? It's actually a fun way to get engaged, see where you are compared to your other attendees. And presenters can participate in that as well, so please take advantage of doing that. Next section. Next section I want to talk about is your own profile. And if you click on the upper left-hand side of the menu, you actually access your profile. Here you can actually see your achievements, your activity, and who's actually following you, like you would on a Facebook or Twitter, and actually get to see who's interested in what you're saying, basically. Next slide. There is an abundance of resources available on this app for the conference, but also this is our year-round app. Members have access to this year-round, and we are always constantly putting resources in for our members, for Capitol Hill Day, for our digital webinar, our digital conference that we have later on this year. So please utilize that app year-round if you want to be part of what's going on, and stay engaged with us, because we really love to have the adult educators, presenters, and the influencers on this app, making it and driving our own and driving the usage of it. So some of the other sections, of course, is our app sponsor, Aztec Software. Hi, Adrian. And we also have our great diamond sponsors and other sponsors as well. Our wonderful strand partners, our exhibitors who are going to be, out there with amazing products. You can also bookmark certain events and certain aspects in the app. There's also a section devoted completely to the events, which is stuff that might be happening off-site. I know we have a Kennedy Space Center tour that's going to be great and wonderful. The conference at a glance, which is a quick look at the schedule. It doesn't have all the information about the sessions, but it gives you an idea of what time is what, when's lunch, when can I take a break, different items like that. A section devoted to the wireless internet, and when we get that information, that will actually be uploaded into the app, so you have it right there at your fingertips. A map that is interactive that shows the different areas of the booths for the exhibitors and so on. The photo feed, where it just shows photos that have been taken throughout the day, and also a section devoted to our volunteers. Other year-round items are like member updates, the ever-popular COABE journal, the wonderful math talk, and other campaigns that we are involved with, such as Voices for Literacy and social media feeds as well. Next slide, Judy. And again, I'd love to thank Aztec Software for sponsoring the COABE app. Without them, it really wouldn't happen, and it's a great feeling to have this app for our members. And they're also today's webinar sponsor, so thank you very much.
So I also want to mimic what Chris just stated, and I want to thank Aztec Software and thank Adrian for being on today. And before we turn it over to her, just a few last-minute items. I just wanted to let you know that Sharon shared that with the COABE board that approximately 75% of our presenters are returning presenters. So I want to thank you for sharing your expertise and for continuing to come back and share with us. It's an honor to present at the conference, and we hope you continue to submit your proposals for future conferences. So here we have the save the date for the next national conference, which will be held in Phoenix, Arizona next year from March 25th to 28th, 2018. So mark your calendars and have that save the date reminder on there. We hope that you have a wonderful conference and presentation experience. Please know that we're all here to help, so reach out to us. And I want to let you know that certificates will be made available after the presentation today for your participation. And also, again, the one piece from the presenter website I didn't show you is if you have any questions specifically related to presenting, there is a spot on the, if you scroll down from the presenter webpage, where you can actually just enter in your information and hit submit, and that'll send those questions directly to us that we can respond to. So at this time, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn this back over to Adrienne so she can share a few things with you before we head out today.
And I'm also going to share my screen here, Jody, so that we can see her PowerPoint.
Great, thank you.
Thanks so much, Jody, and I want to just thank again COABE Board and Sharon Bonney for this invitation. We are thrilled. I believe it's the third year now that we are sponsoring the app, and I love to see greater use of technology within adult ed learners. As we know, we're heading into 21st century where it is a key component of success on the workplace. So it's exciting to be a part of an organization that wants to promote that. I thank the team for their efforts. As I see, the app has gotten better and better every year with more and more features and functionality to enhance your conference experience. I do want to make a note that we did not create the app. As Chris mentioned, it is created by Double Dutch. Often at the conference, people come up to us and ask us questions about it, and we love talking technology. However, I have to give credit where it's due, and Double Dutch, I'm happy to assist there, but I'd love to share more with you about who we are and what we do. I didn't want to take a lot of your time today. We will be using the app exclusively at the conference, awarding prizes through it, posting pictures and comments. So I would encourage you all to make sure that you download the app before you get there, as sometimes internet can be sketchy on site. So we are so thrilled about this opportunity, and as a technology company, this is really right up close to our heart, as we have solutions that are computer-based and are available anytime, anywhere, and on any device to be accessible. So I just want to thank you all for this time, and just can't wait to see you all in a few weeks in sunny Florida. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Adrienne. And I think, Sharon, there are still some questions that we need to address.
There are. I guess the question I'm seeing here is someone's asking specifically about the app, saying that they had signed up for the app, but there was a duplicate generic account listed. And is there a way to claim that presenter account? So I'm going to defer to Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
The duplicate account, so to speak, is actually kind of like it's almost like a business card. That person that's linked to that session is basically a name with your information. We can actually technically link the presenter to your account, and actually Megan, right? Okay, so Megan, I'm actually going to link your account to your presenter account. There isn't much that you can do with that presenter account, so to speak. It's kind of like a placeholder where it just has like your picture, your contact information, and items like that. The account that you really interact with is the one that you actually signed up for. So hopefully that answers your question, and we'll take care of that for you, okay?
So on this end, I don't see any other questions, Jody.
Okay, great. So if there are no additional questions, I want to thank everyone again for joining us today. And again, remind you that if you do have questions that come up after today's session, you can again go to the website, or you can send an email directly to presenter@coabe.org, and we'll be sure to address those questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you all so much. We'll see you at COABE in just 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye now.
All right,
Bye.
thanks everyone.
Sharon.
Bye. Thank you.